We're going live.
To all units, proceed to your post assignments. All units, proceed to your post assignments.
George Trombley, Mark Van Dijk, Mark and George Show.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the Mark and George Show. This is episode 38 on Friday, the 11th of October, 2019. My name is Mark Van Dijk.
And I am George Trombley. And you never know what you're going to get on the Mark and George Show because we have no plan.
No. Totally blank here.
It could be political. It could be about masturbation. You never know what's going to happen.
Well, I kind of doubt the last part.
It could be political masturbation was what I was trying to say.
Imagine that. So, but let's start with the basics. How you doing, man?
I'm okay. I had a little bit of a
week?
slip last night. A little bit of a slip. I watched a ton of YouTube last night, and I got sucked into it. Yeah. And I realized I probably am going to have to create another account and populate it with things that are not as enticing to click, because I went down the political rabbit hole yesterday.
Oh, yeah, that's dangerous.
I watched, so we might as well do a little bit of politics because I want to say one thing. I have one thing I wanted to mention. Were you changing servers right now? There's a lot of blinking for some reason.
It's blinking and stuff. Let me switch servers. Hold on here. This is a live show, ladies and gentlemen.
A lot of things can happen.
Let's see if this is better. So, OBS updated here, and the plugin as well. I see it blinking. It's quite annoying.
It's blinking. I actually had I did not have a good experience with the Streamlabs version.
No,
I had to go back to the
regular
original
OBS.
Huh?
This is the regular, because I'm not able to send the Streamlabs OBS as a webcam image to Discord. So this is regular Streamlabs, non-Streamlabs OBS. Political, well, let's just ignore it. Political rabbit hole?
Yeah, so I watched, I think it's the Tapper show, the Jake Tapper show, but it wasn't Jake Tapper. It was some guy standing in for him. And the topic was Mike Pence ignores 3 direct questions asked to him about the Ukraine situation or something like that. I was like, oh, this is going to be good. And I've definitely, as the pendulum in my political spectrum swings back and forth, I'm more back on the left, okay? I've kind of swung a little bit more back to the left.
Okay.
But when I watch this, I go, this is complete and utter bullshit, because Mike Pence was answering the questions each time. But all you have to do is label the headline that he didn't and show him speaking eloquently about, he's like, well, listen, he answered the question in a very political way. He didn't go, I refuse to answer that question. No, we're not going to talk about that. He didn't do that, which is what I was expecting. So, it's so disingenuous.
Or what is 1 + 1? And then they'll answer like, well, before we get into that question, there's just one point I want to make. And never.
But he didn't do that. See, that's what I thought he was going to do.
Right.
He didn't. He literally said, as I've said before, I don't know. I came off, for as much as I always think Mike Pence would be worse than Trump, I kind of like Mike Pence. He seems at least political. I don't know.
He's a very pious guy.
But you know what the left is doing right now? This is what I realize what they're doing. It's so fucking smart. They are kind of certain Trump will be kicked out of office. They have an idea that he might. So what do they need to do? Discredit Pence. They need to make Pence. They're already starting to make Pence look bad, and that's the feeling that I'm getting.
Because after Pence, it's Pelosi.
Yeah. Now, when I watched that episode and they said that he didn't respond 3 times and they showed it, I thought when they came back, at least one of the pundits would go, actually, it seemed to me like he answered. I was waiting for it. I was like, please be some intellectually honest people here. But they were like, that is just unacceptable. It's like, oh my God, you're feeding bullshit.
Well, this is kind of what I've been seeing as well. The only thing that matters both in the U.S. politics, but also here on my side of the ocean. It's all about perception, 100%. It's not anymore about, contents and real arguments. It's just about perception. They care so much. They only care about what people think. They don't care about, contents of arguments. They don't care about, effective policy anymore, because this is all the media, of course. And these are mostly politicians and, anchormen and journalists and stuff. They are all just and only focusing on public perception. And it's really scary. So, for example, what you're saying is what they're doing is first they are sketching a narrative. Pence doesn't answer the question. Then they stay within that frame so that even though Pence, might answer questions, people already have, the bias implanted into their perception of
And if
him
you're
not
not
answering the
critical,
question.
if you're not a critical thinker in any way, if you're just, you had a long day at work, you're tired, you're just watching the news, that becomes what you believe because
Yes.
it's close enough. It's close enough to the truth.
I
that it
remember
seems
seeing
real.
I remember seeing a study where they say that after 30 minutes of watching television, your critical, your ability to watch critically what you are watching already gets impaired, and you stop really thinking about what you're seeing and just taking it all in. Like what the human brain does is it postpones most of what it's seeing. So like, oh yeah, this is interesting, I will think about it later, and you continuously keep doing that, and you never come back to that that callback, so to speak. So
Well,
you
it's interesting that you brought that up because I was thinking about that in the shower before the show. Since I've stopped YouTube and news, except for my yesterday binge, I've realized I wasn't able to juggle all those thoughts that were put into my head prior to this. You're right. I could never go back to that particular thought. So
Yeah.
it just gets lost.
yes
And now I'm able to think clearly. My creativity has spiked. And here I am at a loss for words saying that I'm able to think now, but yeah, it's so, I'm so much more clear with what I'm thinking. Whereas
Right.
before I would have so much Trump news or Rachel Maddow words or Steven Crowder in my head that I didn't know where I sat as a human being.
Well, it's all about context. The brain always connects things to context. So as soon as you watch another show, you remember what the previous show was about. But when you are, like driving, yeah, random things might pop up into your mind, but it's really difficult to, consciously remember what things you wanted to consider. What you told yourself, well, I want to think about this later, or so this is all context, and it's a really strange process how you think about stuff and then kind of postpone it until later. But if it's your own creative process, then there are plenty of moments when those thoughts that you have postponed will come back to you later, because
If
you're
you let them
still
though, but
in-
if you're constantly crowding yourself with this other information,
yes,
you'll never get
if it
back
piles
to it.
up. No,
Yeah,
you won't.
there's you have to lose it.
So in that case, what sticks is like a generic, watered down kind of narrative where you divert most of your own critical thoughts to somebody else doing this. And this is, for most people, it's either the media or social media or your social groups. Like if you're at university, then of course the peers who you look up to, or the professors or whatever. You kind of tell yourself that you don't have to think about everything because there's another authority that is
Yeah, I don't
thinking
even think
about
it's
this
watered
in a
down. I
critical
really just
way.
think you take the view that was presented to you and you spit it out as is. Much like before I really thought about Trump, I didn't have real reasons to hate him. I'm getting real reasons now to hate him, but I didn't have them before.
All right.
I'm getting more coherent because I'm having time to think about it. Before, when you asked me about Trump, I would say, oh, come on, that guy, he's a piece of shit. And I could say that with a lot of conviction, But then if you actually asked me why, what makes him a piece of shit, I don't think I knew the answer.
And you do now?
I think I'm getting a better flow.
You have your own answer?
Yeah. I mean, now that maybe you're asking me now, maybe you want me to say why, but I think he's very self-serving at a minimum. And do I think what he's done is impeachable? No, I think the right has done a good job of showing me that, actually, I don't know if this is true. They showed Clinton asking for help in a similar way to another government during an election year with some sort of strike that was happening. And he was asking, I think he was asking England for help because it's bad. He said it's bad optics for an election year. So if you could help. So I guess it's close to an equivalent in my mind.
Australia, maybe?
I can't remember who it was, honestly.
Yeah, something like that.
It was within my binge, so.
Right. I didn't follow much politics or any politics this week at all because I was ill for most of the week with a flu. Because I have a 3-year-old going to kindergarten. So, I mean, there is high risk of catching, something from those other filthy kids. Of course, always the other kids, never my own. But, Trump kind of is a piece of shit. You're right about that. He's just, in my opinion, not as much of a piece of shit as the other politicians. So I guess this is my reason for liking him more than politicians, because I don't really think he's a businessman with a big mouth and even more arrogance than his mouth. But the others, they are all political opportunists. They say stuff like, of course, even politicians may change their minds, but if they change even their backstories of, there was this example of Elizabeth Warren who had a backstory that she really, really changed from the same story she tried to tell, 10 years ago, and her story 10 years ago was much more honest because it was not political opportunism. Mm-hmm. But right now she could throw a lot of things in there that really fit the present narrative. So
I think Trump lacks the ability to actually calculate. He doesn't calculate, and I think he does only say what's on his mind in that moment, and I think that is an admirable trait. Sometimes
I don't know. I think the ability of him to. I think he's very able to calculate. He's very good at playing other people against each other.
Is he? I think so. The whole Trump is playing 4D chess thing he's heard that people say that about him. So now he tries to make it look like he is. I don't think that guy has enough forethought to do that. I just don't think he does.
Most people who say that aren't that bright themselves, though.
To them, God, he is playing 4D chess.
You see that? Like 4D chess, man.
Tell you what, that Trump, man. Trump is a fucking genius. Did you see how he called Hillary a crooked Hillary? Holy shit. How did he come up with the word crooked? It's crazy.
That must be 4D chess. I always see these arguments from people who believe in the QAnon phenomena. This deep state operative, or no, this operative, like this guy or a group inside of the military trying to help Trump by bringing out truthisms on the internet, but always in a mysterious kind of way so that people have to figure it out and decipher codes and stuff like that, because they are not allowed to actually bring the truth, and it's important that people research the truth for themselves. So he highlights specific letters in statements, and then people put them back into codes or act with numerology on those things, and then they say, oh wow, we found a new truth from Q. Wow, this is really 4D chess. And it's like, oh my lord, if you just shoot enough bullets and some of them will hit the target, but it's so much phony baloney stuff out there that people are, really just choosing the narrative that fits them most. In that sense, everyone is like a politician, I guess. But
I mean, for me, I worry, I think, okay, so I'm going to withdraw from the news and I'm not going to be part of the conditioning, and I think, well, everybody should do that. But then I think, if everyone does that, we really let them get away with it.
Yes.
Then there's no transparency. Then the bullshit that they're doing works, and the world becomes something we definitely don't want it to become. As much as us personally get affected.
Kind of the play right now is to get rid of democracy as much as possible. They are doing it here in Europe by, with the European Union, which elects people we cannot elect. They select people. We cannot elect them. We can go to the voting booth every, 6 years or something, and no referendums, no anything. And now they are pushing through policy. And yeah, we can vote our national governments, but the national government, whoever is in charge, they still move more and more authority to the European Union. So it's right now there's just this big power grab and removing as much authority from the people as possible. So I think in that sense, it doesn't even really matter what is happening in the news right now. But the only thing is they're just, there are a couple of ways that people can show how much power they really have. And the most prominent example for me is how the farmers have, had a one-day protest. We talked about that last week, where they went to The Hague, the capital en masse, the political capital of the Netherlands. And now there's another protest planned for the 16th of October, so next Wednesday, where even more sectors will, add also protest, like the transport sector and not just the farmers, but more. It will be a bigger protest. They had a protest today in the capital of one of the provinces, Friesland. The capital is called Leeuwarden. And they went to there with a bunch of tractors and did a big protest to, protest against the policy against nitrogen and the effects of nitrogen and how the farmers have to, change a lot of stuff to reduce the nitrogen output while they already have done that. So they disagree and they say, well, this is costing us too much and we're getting too much blame for this. The problem is not with us.
I want to know what's the end goal? Like, so the people that are trying to get rid of nitrogen, how are they making money from it if it's not purely that they think nitrogen's a problem and they're trying to address a problem that is a real problem? What is the nefarious thing that they're doing if it's not just, to be honestly, helping?
The idea, it seems to me that what the big power players want to do, and it's not just government, it's mostly corporate interests. They want to get rid of the farmers. They want to buy them out because farmers are now in financial trouble, so they have to sell all of their property, and it's like multi-generation families.
So is it a way to get more financial distress on the farmers so the land is easier to purchase?
Yes, and to be used for different things. And another effect that is, in line with European projections and plans is to move most of the farming stuff to the Eastern European countries, where it's a lot cheaper to do and where the infrastructure is a lot easier. See, they have these big plans for Europe. They want to, there's this big plan about wanting to make our country, the Netherlands and Belgium and a piece of England and I think even France into one city. So they want to merge the countries. They want to remove, national sovereignty, and they want to change it into a big city that they can more easily plan and
Are they
change.
saying that outright, or is that a guess that people? They're saying it outright.
There's this big. Yes, and there's this big website also by one of the biggest lobbying agencies of the country, the VNO-NCW, I think the name is, and a bunch of other companies. And they, this is out there. They say, well, in the 21st century, it is not realistic anymore for these small countries to exist, so they should become world players, and that means that they need to become cities of 13 million people instead of a country of 17 million people.
Does that mean eventually you're going to be a different nationality eventually, Mark?
Yeah.
Gonna be
Seems it seems that is
England-Dutch.
no European.
Or you'll be European.
Yeah, that's the idea. Just like you are not a Las
Nevadian.
Vegas.
I'm not Nevadan.
Nevadian.
I'm
Yeah,
not Nevadan.
exactly. You're an American.
American.
And they want to
America.
create the United States of Europe. That's always been the goal. That's always been the plan. And yeah, they are working hard to towards that idea. And mass immigration really helps because that kind of waters down the nations and the populations. And now, this, I mean, I'm not following much of it. I just heard about the threat from Turkey, from Erdogan, saying that if Europe condemns whatever he is doing in Syria right now, he is going to release another 3.4 million Syrians into Europe. So there's this geopolitics, man. It really sucks. It's just, it's crazy.
That's the
And
other
it's very
thing. That,
difficult
if you ask
to-
me what I don't like about Trump, is it seems he really loves dictators. He loves
I don't know.
strongmen.
I
That's
don't-
who he
I
always
don't know what
buddies up to. Every one of our traditional allies, he shuns.
Isn't every leader more fond of himself being the only leader than of having to work in I mean, you see the same thing. Didn't Bush Jr. said that? Well, I have no problem with America being a dictatorship as long as I'm the dictator. He said that.
Did he say that?
It's-
I've never heard
Yes,
that
yes. It's on video. I remember
I think it's
him
interesting
saying
that you
that.
jump back to Bush and didn't talk about Obama, because I don't think Obama said anything. I don't think Obama was ever, for as much as you might hate or not like Obama, I don't think he was ever making a power grab.
I don't know what Obama was doing, honestly. I don't know. But also, there's this fatigue inside of me just with all of the stuff going on. And there's what I've been realizing is that here in the Netherlands, what our problem is, even not just in the Netherlands, but in Europe in general as well, is that we are importing too much American politics into our own countries. So that means that, for example, one huge example is reparations. The discussion that American descendants of slavery should be paid reparations, preferably by the Democrats, because of what happened during the slavery of the United States.
Right.
And now this is being, and I kind of respect that. I kind of understand the story thanks to the podcast Adam Curry's been doing together with Mo Facts. It's called Mo Facts with Adam Curry, where they talk about these topics a lot. And I kind of respect that. But this is being, this whole idea about reparations is being copied to Europe. But in Europe, they just say, well, black people should be paid for the sins of white people. That's how they change it. There's no discussion really about slavery and,
Yeah, and,
I mean,
and the discrimination that they felt and the loss of opportunity.
Right.
Right.
And here, I mean, we in this country never had slaves. We were big players in the slave trades, which is a different topic altogether, for different reasons. For example, there were buyers of the slaves, but you bet there were also sellers. And those, people who sold the slaves were, of course, in the black countries. And that is not being talked about at all because it's the white person's sin. But there are no black people to blame for this. They were all the victims. So it's like, if you think
It's
about
funny
it,
how a
really
lot of
racist,
a lot of
perspective,
political
but-
positions are based on half information.
Yes.
They hear the first half of the argument, and then they attach to that, and they don't hear the other part of the story, which is which
Right.
makes it a lot more nuanced.
Yeah, and it's
so
about
black
emotional
people-
arguments. It's not about facts, but it's about who's like victim mentality and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, in the end, I think you could just look at the effect, right? And not worry too much about the history of it, because we're not going to ever be able to undo what happened. And even if my grandfather or your grandfather was a slave owner, so what? That wasn't me. I didn't make that choice. I am a victim as much as, well, I shouldn't say that because I'm not a victim of slavery, but I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice in that happening as much as a slave didn't have a choice to be a slave, right? I didn't.
no,
I
it's
didn't
even the
affect
other way
that
around.
choice.
It's even the other way around. white people have been working very hard to abolish slavery. The Brits were the first. They were the first to buy the freedom of the slaves, and this was a debt that they only paid off in like 2017 or something. So that means that the current generation has been paying for the abolishment of slavery. But those are inconvenient facts, and those shatter the narratives, especially the most easily emotional argument that people can make, which is white people bad, black people victim. And this is what all of the other discussions stem from.
You
But
know what
my
I have
main
a
point
feeling
was,
though? I have a feeling that majority of people don't have such a, and to use, even though we're talking about blacks and whites, I'm just saying they don't have such a black and white opinion. I think most people have a nuanced opinion. It's the people that share a strong opinion on one side or the other that talk a lot. They're the type of people that are passionate enough to get on a podcast or to get on TV and talk. But your average everyday person, I'm trying to think of any people I know that are completely off to one side or not. It's most people are pretty middle of the road.
nuanced, yeah.
It's nuanced.
By the way, I'm feeding back. Am I
You
coming
are?
through your speakers? Yeah, a little bit.
Say something?
Hello?
You shouldn't be feeding back.
Okay.
I don't even know how I would make you feedback at this point. You've been feeding back the whole time?
No, sometimes.
Okay. By the way, I have the
Anyway,
George Bush quote up here. It's, if this were a dictatorship, it'd be a heck of a lot easier as long as I'm the dictator.
Oh, there you
Literally the is included.
Yeah, I remember.
So
I
you know it
remember
was a joke.
How it sounded.
That's another thing that I find super disingenuous when one side will take what someone says in jest and make it into a thing.
This was the kind of chuckle that was like, yeah, it sounds funny, but I mean it.
Yeah, it's like when he was looking for weapons of mass destruction.
You've got a gorgeous
Are there
wife.
WMDs
Yeah, fucker.
underneath this chair? He made
Yeah.
a joke about that, which was poor taste, but still it's just a joke, right?
It's the kind of joke like, yeah, you've got a pretty wife. I'd fuck her.
We should have freedom of joke as a amendment to the Constitution.
Anyway, the thing about people being very adamant about these topics are usually in institutions, and most notably European Union, but also in the Democratic Party, but also in the United Nations. We had this week a woman from the United Nations who was essentially saying that this country, the Netherlands, is not doing enough about combating racism and gender discrimination and all of that stuff. And she was pretty blatant about this, calling most people, the Netherlands is still very racist and not doing enough about it and all of that stuff. And I can even, I can play you a fragment, a clip to, we call it a fragment in Dutch, a clip to illustrate the point. Here we go.
During the mission, interlocutors across the spectrum described the Netherlands' political landscape as highly polarized. Interlocutors also highlighted the mainstreaming of xenophobic and racist discourse, including at the highest levels of political discourse, as well as a consolidation of Islamophobia, which they see as widely tolerated, even in circles typically relied upon to defend human rights. The parliamentary and public discourse, including in the media, concerning what many refer to as the niqab ban, offers a case in point. The law at issue bans face coverings in a number of public places, and while its text may be read as facially neutral, the political discourse surrounding it has made clear that Muslim women are its intended targets. Interlocutors also highlighted the perverse irony of this measure, given that Muslim women are among the most vulnerable to physical harassment.
Yeah, that's a very scary word, basically, for a person who is reporting from the United Nations, making a report. She's from the United Nations.
That's not a person's name. It's a type of. I've never heard the word.
Title. Interlocutor. No, her name. I'm very bad at these African names. Let me see where I can.
A person who takes part in a dialogue or conversation.
Interlocutor.
Let's see if I can. Interlocutor. Yeah. And where was her?
A man
this
in the middle
page?
of the line in a minstrel show who questions end men and acts as leader.
Her name is. Let's see. Her name is Tendai Achiume or something. She's from Zambia. You know, the country of Mugabe. She was a big Mugabe supporter. And I have a quote here from her, which will kind of illustrate her own political perspective, alliance, allegiance, whatever.
I'm sorry. I want to make
Here's
before you
let me
play.
just
Before you
make this-
play, that last
No, it's a
clip.
quote, but yeah. Mhm.
The last clip was basically saying, okay, so they have these headdress bands, and they made it seem neutral, but really it's against Muslim women.
Yeah.
That's what she was saying.
Yeah.
That was her main point.
Yeah, and I can refute that by saying it's not even being enforced. Even though this is in the law and it should be enforced, it only applies to public places, and it's about all head wear. It's not just about the Muslim wear, but you're also not allowed to wear a helmet, for example, if you go into the
Can you wear a hat?
municipal. Yeah, you can wear a hat, just don't
'Cause I
cover
gotta
your
hide
whole
my
face.
balding spot as much as possible.
You can also wear a, like a headscarf and stuff like that. That's no
Yarmulkes, I
problem.
assume, are okay.
Yarmulke, I don't know what a yarmulke.
Yarmulke is the best thing about being Jewish. I'm not Jewish, but it's that little cap that covers your bald spot.
Yeah, of course you can wear that. That's no problem, and especially if you're Jewish. But I mean, there is anti-Semitism going on everywhere, so it's difficult for them to wear that in public because the Muslims don't like them. And the quote I wanted to read from her said about her is that, in her opinion, violent state-sponsored racism can sometimes be legally acceptable so long as the victims are of European descent.
Say that part again. Say that part again.
In her opinion, violent state-sponsored racism can sometimes be legally acceptable so long as the victims are of European descent.
What the actual fuck?
Yes. Yes.
She
this
said that.
person-
That's actual content from her mouth.
Yes, she's a big Mugabe supporter. I think it's in the context
Fuck
of,
her.
Yeah.
If that's what she said, and again, I don't know any of the context, racism should be okay? No. Racism, just like freedom of
Violent-
speech, should
Yeah.
not be allowed.
I know, right?
Actually, I just said racism shouldn't be allowed. So should not speech. I just said freedom of speech shouldn't be allowed. I mean, there is no
Ban
there's no
speech.
acceptable racism, and there's no unless it's in the name of freedom of speech, I guess. But if we define
Well, here,
racism as not speech, but
I posted a link to the Dutch article in our chat and also in the No Agenda chat. People
I'm getting
can
ready to rage quit.
Look at it. You can just see her picture so that you have some bit of an idea of how she looks. But
What, her
it's,
face? Oh
it's
my
not-
God.
it's
okay.
typical social justice warrior.
Totally. Like that is
appearance.
that's the definition of social
Yeah.
justice warrior. Vien rapporteur boca verbot discriminate islamisches verbe. Pretty damn good.
Yeah, I like it. It's
pretty good.
I was able to read with you. Boerkaverbod discrimineert islamitische vrouwen.
Such a frown, man.
Vrouwen, man. Women.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this kind of stuff is just, it's basically, this is a shortcut to media fatigue. You read one or two of these things and then you're like, okay, fuck it, man. I'm going to do something else here.
Honestly,
Which
there's
is,
so much more joy in life to just do your own thing.
Yeah,
I guess it sucks if your thing is talking about politics.
It also sucks that, you're doing your own thing for like, I don't know, like maybe a year. And then after a year, you start looking around and demographics really changed.
Where'd all these people come from here that weren't here before?
Were there so many people with the headscarves
I don't understand what's happening. What are these people over here in the corner here?
And it's also, if you have young children, then this stuff also, I don't know, just for me, I mean, I'm always thinking like, what kind of education is my son going to get? I'm worried about the gender stuff because I mean, here it's still pretty traditional, but there are schools in the UK and in the US, by the way, in California is also going crazy, where it's like obligatory to have LGBT courses at age 3 and stuff like that, or age 4. It is just, it's
The
too
amount
much
of
for my
work we
little
do
brain.
for a very small segment of the population is pretty amazing.
Yes, it is, and
I
it's
mean, I
also
don't
not,
think I think it's okay that we teach that, and I think I understand it. If you don't teach tolerance,
Yes,
it's
it's
hard.
okay
It
to teach
could be a problem.
tolerance.
Yeah, teach tolerance, and
yes.
it could be a part of that, and say, hey, some people are women and they like women, and some people are men and they like men, and some people feel like they're a woman if they're born even a man, and this is called that, and you teach what the words mean, and to those type of people, you shouldn't say this as it's offensive to them. It's important to know boundaries of people.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing to learn. What are the boundaries? For example,
kind of.
if I always called you homeboy, it might bother you, and you might tell me, hey, don't call me homeboy. Like my daughter called me D-bag the other day, and I was like, hey, my name is Dad, not D-bag. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even making a joke. My daughter called me
D-bag's hurtful, man.
and in the morning she
hurtful.
called me a hoe over chat. So I had to let her know my name is Dad. I feel like that's acceptable to do. If you
That's
want to be
hurtful.
called a certain thing, why don't you? I don't want to be called D-bag.
Yeah. What's next? A-hole? Hey, a-hole.
Yeah.
What's for dinner, a-hole?
Hey, bitch.
What's for dinner, a-hole?
Bitch, what's up with my allowance
How
being so
late-
damn low?
Oh, man, that's awful. By the way,
No, she
speaking
didn't
about
call me
children-
douchebag. She called me D-bag, Darren. I'm sorry, I'm just responding to the chat. Yeah, it was actually D-bag. And what really hurt was her point was very valid, what she was saying, but she ended it with D-bag.
Yeah, kind of diminishing.
I had, okay, let me just, I'll just give you 1 second. I'll explain. We were arguing in the morning about my younger daughter wearing very expressive clothing that showed her boobies. My daughter, my young daughter, Arisa, is now an adult, and her body is extremely like, and they were going to a music festival, and Arisa just had these like, I got tits shirt. She had like I got tits. Look at my tits. And I'm like,
right,
honey,
yeah.
you can't go out like that. And my older daughter didn't agree with that. So there was a debate back and forth on that. And I was getting mad that she was interjecting that info. I was like, look, I am the father here. You are like 1 month away from being an adult. She's still a minor. I just want her to put something on a little bit more reasonable, right? And then I was getting loud and mad, and my older daughter's friend was staying at our house, and she said, could you keep it down so that my friend doesn't hear? And I go, I'm not keeping anything down. And then I started speaking in Japanese to be a little bit more discreet. And then Mari, as she was walking away, my older daughter Mari, she said, I told you to keep it down. Could you please keep it down? I said, that's why I'm speaking Japanese. She goes, well, Sydney understands Japanese, D-bag. So she was correct. I had forgotten that Sydney understood Japanese. So
But still,
But I was a
honor
D-bag.
thy father and no. I think there is.
No,
your
you're
children
right.
are
She should
just-
have said that. She should have said that.
Yeah.
But just to end the story properly, I then threw the USB cable in my hand at her and said, bitch, this is why I hate you. So I actually lost control there. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I really
Well,
lost
I don't
control.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
You're
welcomed
also
you
just
to fatherhood. They're very easy when they're 3. And I know in February you have a new one coming. I'm just saying, get ready for it. It's coming. Winter is coming.
Yeah. Hey, I've got an announcement to make here.
Uh-oh.
And before I make the announcement,
Wait.
How much
Another announcement? Is it twins?
No. I just, before I go there, I want to say how much I respect you for having 2 daughters. That must be so difficult. And I heard last Wednesday that won't be my future because I'm going to have another son.
Oh, no. You can just punch him in the arm when he's bad.
Ooh, yeah.
Violence solves
Punch him in
everything
the
with
nose.
boys.
I'll tell his older brother to punch him. No, it's gonna be a son. So very excited about that, and
Well, you wanted boys,
also
am I right?
relieved. I don't know. I was kind of blank the entire time because the first time I said, yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a girl. Sure, it's going to be a girl. And I had this fantasies about, my little princess. And then after 20 weeks, I heard that it would be a son. And I had to change my entire, future fantasies and whatever. So I was like, okay, this time I'm going to keep my mouth shut internally as well. I'm not going to predict anything and we'll see what happens. And I'm so happy I did that because, yeah. But no, it's well, my father, he was the one who's always said, well, no, your second one is going to be a boy as well.
Huh.
You will only have sons, a little bit like
You will only have
like he's
sons.
the prophet
Said
of
it just like
God.
that.
Yeah. So it kind of stuck with me, and I was like, well, maybe. But yeah, I guess I have very strong Y chromosomes. So
Yeah, it's the man. It's the men. It's the men that determine sex, if I remember correctly.
yes.
I remember when my youngest daughter was in the womb. They were like, looking like a boy. I wouldn't buy any clothing yet, though. That's what they said.
Ooh.
So I did not want a boy. I've always been into daughters, and so once he said that, though, I started prepping for it because I'm George Trombley the third. I thought, okay, I can continue the name, George Trombley Jr. the fourth. And I was excited,
Yeah.
and I just thought about playing ball with him, and I was like, this is going to be great.
Right.
And then when they
Yeah.
said, oh, nope, it's a girl, I'm like, I lost my boy today. I felt like I
Yeah,
lost my
exactly.
boy. I was really
I
sad.
kind of felt the same way when with my first one. Like, no daughter. Oh, damn it. I just had all these fantasies about, my princess and
Daughters are
her
cute, man.
wearing
They are adorable.
dresses and everything.
This is the thing about daughters. They're cute for a long time. Boys become pieces of shit real soon. They become little Trumps.
I don't know, man. Maybe, but
Yeah,
just-
no.
the thing that they say is sons are just for a period, but daughters are for a lifetime.
Oh,
know
God.
that saying?
See,
it's kind
now
of
I'm
like
hoping.
that.
I'm wishing I had a son.
Because
The
sons
stress
will
of a
just,
daughter is too much, man.
well, as soon as they are beyond the adolescent period, as soon as they have children of their themselves and stuff like that, then yeah, that's when they will start getting accepting you back into their lives. Like, yeah, my dad wasn't so bad. He really loved us. We know of a lot of examples of fathers either missing or fathers not loving their children, but you were always there for us. And I'm so sorry, Dad. So that's something that will happen for you somewhere in the
No,
future, I'm
I
sure.
get yelled at for giving her money. Like, I get chastised because I solve everything with money. I'm like, bitch, listen. It's like, do you need help? And you ask for help, and I immediately give you money, which is the thing you asked me for. You didn't say, come give me a hug. You didn't say, send me a blanket. You said, I'm
And then you
poor
get,
right now.
Right. And then you get, well, I don't want to have to ask. I want you to offer it. Yeah.
I haven't had that.
Fuck
I haven't
off.
had that.
I'm a
I
guy.
haven't had that.
Oh, okay.
But I have heard from my older daughter that she doesn't need my money because, she can earn her own money, blah, blah, blah. And then I went back, I was looking over the bank account yesterday for my daughter, and I see like every 2 months I'm sending her money, like big money, not small money, like $500 and $1,000. That's big money,
Yeah.
considering
It
her,
is.
we only send her like a 1,100 a month,
Right.
and that's supposed to be everything. So apparently she does need my money, but it
She
bothers
just
her
doesn't
that
want
she's,
to admit it.
well, she's got this. By the way, my daughter is very much a social justice warrior. So she does have the nose ring and everything, and colored hair. She's got it all, dude. She's got it all.
She a member of Extinction Rebellion and stuff like that.
She just changed her major to conservation and forestry.
Fuck. Jesus. All right. God, that's the worst. Oh my lord. I really respect you, man. I mean, especially the fact that your first reaction is to laugh this off is just awesome. This is why I love you.
Oh man.
For
You should
me,
have seen her face
this
when I
was
told
just-
her I voted straight Republican on the last election. Oh my God, Dad! No, what?
But your second one's not that bad. she's not like total
My second one knows how to
warriors.
play the game.
Right.
My second one doesn't push when she doesn't need to push, and she's
She's a
super
real
chill.
zoomer.
She's super chill. First of all, I have bonded tremendously with my older daughter. I love my older daughter. It's just that when we fight, it's so bad. It's so polarizing, and I become such a
Right.
piece of shit. I like she makes me realize how much of a piece of shit I am as a human being.
Well, you in the past you said that that's because you are so alike.
Yeah, it's horrible. But I also hate being told I'm alike with her because I don't think I'm that much of an ass, but I know I am. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe you were when you were her age.
Oh no, I am an ass. Don't get me wrong. Like when I argue to the death, and I pull out everything negative I know about you and I throw it back at you, and it hurts. She's just 10 times better at that, and I can't
women, man.
beat that, and that's what sucks. Is that
Yeah,
when we
because they
argue,
have this memory, you know.
she will win, and I will. Like, I remember one time she was like 10, and it was a particularly bad day with us, and there was a lot of crying and everything. And I remember I was just at my wit's end, and I went into her bedroom, and she was on the bed, and I got in a lower position than her on the I knelt down so that I would be below her, so that she wouldn't feel like I was dominating over her, you know. And I said, honey. You know, you're smarter than me. And she goes, I know. Oh my God. That's not how I expected that one to go. She really believes she's smarter than me.
She squeezed your balls, even though you were on the floor, on your knees. She squeezed your balls and said, "Who's dominating you now, bitch?"
Yeah.
My lord. And the other ones wearing the boobies. I have boobies shirt. Look here, boobies.
Yeah, that's exactly
Boobies.
what she was doing.
Oh man.
Apparently, at
sons.
that music festival, that was very conservative what my younger daughter was wearing, because apparently, according to my older daughter, there's people with pasties on. You know what a pasty is?
No.
So a pasty just covers your nipple. So it's like tits hanging out, and then the nipples are hidden. That's it. I'm like, damn, I want to go to this festival.
Yeah,
Because it's different when it's your own. When it's not your own daughter, you're like, hell yeah, show me those tits. But when it's your daughter, you're like, no, this is not acceptable. This is not acceptable.
I don't want anyone to look at those boobies. This is my child.
Yeah. Oh my God. Now you got me thinking about it. Ugh.
Yeah. No, think about the. I just removed a picture of the social justice warrior in the chat. Or what was the website with brain wash or no the?
No. Eye bleach.
Eye bleach. Eye bleach. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to.
That reminds me
think
of
about
3 shows back. Man, we were talking about some really disgusting stuff back then, weren't we?
Yeah, I guess, but that was all after party. People
after party?
who haven't heard it missed it.
Yeah, after party is brutal here. For those of you that are on the YouTube stream, if you listen at No Agenda stream, you'll actually get more show. I'm not saying get off of YouTube. I'm just saying when the show's over, you should click over to No Agenda or markandgeorge.com/live, and you'll get the continuing discussion, which normally is worse than what's happening.
markandgeorgeshow.com/live. You can listen. You
Hans
don't have
Peter
to
says,
look at
can you
our
announce the next
ugly
show? I would like to
faces."
prepare for it. It's every Friday around 12 Pacific time.
12 Pacific time.
Yeah.
9 p.m. European Central European time.
And is it still Friday for you, though?
It is Friday, yes.
Okay.
Oh, man, been sick all week. It sucks. And a lot of people have been sick here. It is...
Sick of immigrants.
Sorry. Sick of immigrants.
Fact.
But it's an old one.
Fact.
It's one
know,
of our
but it's
first
pretty good.
first ISOs, I think. Yeah, never gets old though. So anything on the corporate side? How's it going? Anything? How's your You were working on Kansai from zero.
Yeah, Kansai dialect, for those of you that don't know, is one of the most popular / large dialects of Japan. And if you are learning Japanese or relatively fluent in Japanese, you're going to come across it. So it's a really important to know thing. So I built a course that I'm working on. Episode 10 has been edited, I'm told. There's 20. Apparently, I thought there was only 20 videos, but apparently I got the numbering wrong. There's 21. So there's 21 videos for a course. It's going well. Other content's going well too. I made a video that I released, I think 2 days ago or yesterday, and it's skyrocketing. I had a genius idea when I woke up the other day. It was, okay, so there's always the balance on YouTube. Can you do clickbait without being clickbait? In other words, people click because of the title, but yet you don't want to be labeled as a clickbaiter, right? Well, I figured out how to do it.
Okay.
And so there's a very big YouTuber in Japan named Chris Broad. And he has a channel called Abroad in Japan. And I've been doing this series where I analyze tweets. So I take a Japanese tweet, which is real Japanese people speaking. The great thing about tweets is that it's spoken Japanese, but in a written format, which is really great for learning. Yeah. So I've been doing that. And I just thought 5 things Japanese say about as a series. And then I threw Abroad in Japan.
Okay.
So anyone watching Chris Abroad there's a high chance that they get recommended this video. And they, for the first time, he has 1,300,000 subscribers. I have 138,000. So 10 times more people watch his stuff. If they see my channel and they realize, oh, wow, this is about Chris, they'll watch it. And then they'll see my teaching method, which is currently using tweets and then using grammar concepts to identify what's being said in those tweets. And that video is just skyrocketed. 8,000 views in 2 days. And even YouTube was like, holy shit, keep it up. You're doing great.
I have that gives me an idea for a video you could do, which is what PewDiePie does wrong in Japanese.
I already am considering a PewDiePie video. Yeah. The problem with PewDiePie's Japanese, is that what you think I should do?
Yeah, because
I was thinking about doing what Japanese people say about PewDiePie. I feel like that would be a more positive spin.
When he asks where are you in Minecraft, he always says "Doko ni desu ka?"
He does not.
Yeah, he does.
He does not. He is horrible.
He is.
What's his problem?
So,
all right, well, I'm going to have to isolate. Dude, you know how hard it's going to be to isolate those things?
Doko ni desu ka? Yeah, like, it's in one of his Minecraft videos that he plays with one of the other guys.
All right, I'm going to... See, I haven't been watching PewDiePie because he moved to Minecraft.
It's kind of moving away, but I've stopped
actually, you know what I would call it? Improving PewDiePie's Japanese. That's what
exactly. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
I actually am working on, and I tell you what, I found a real happy medium because I do like politics, but I don't like how it makes me feel. I got so excited when I started looking up what Japanese people are saying about Trump. My God, it was fascinating.
They are all very happy with him, aren't they?
No, they're not. They're not. They're actually not. I had a hard time finding positives about Trump.
Ooh.
There were some, but I had a hard time. So the other day, this is the current news in Japan from the 7th. So I don't even think we had this in America, but it was Trump said, so Abe Shinzo is the prime minister of Japan, and he was with Abe Shinzo, and he said, I just want to say, God, I got to work on my Trump impression. I got to say happy birthday. God damn it. That's not a good Trump.
No, you have to really
out here.
Imagine you're Hitler speaking to a crowd of 1 million.
All right,
I just want,
Okay, let me see. I just want to say, God damn it. Okay. Anyway, he said he wished Abe Shinzo a happy birthday and said, he's 39. He's 39. He ain't 39 though. He's 50 something probably.
Yeah.
But he said he was 39. And then there's an NHK news story, the Nihon Hoso Kokai, the Japanese broadcasting. And the news story goes like this. Today, for some reason, Trump wished Abe Shinzo happy birthday, even though his birthday was several months back. Although it is interesting to note, today is Putin's birthday. I was like, holy shit, even they're doing it.
They're all in cahoots.
But none of them seem to be talking about the impeachment, the informal impeachment stuff.
Nah, because that's nothing. It's a wet fart. That's all it is.
Okay.
It's a Dutch word burger. Yeah, that's the English word for the Dutch. It's a wet fart. That's all it is.
It's a wet fart.
Yeah. It's a
So yeah,
shard.
everything about Japan politics is Korea and China. So anytime that Trump does something Korea or China, that's what they're talking about. Korea, China, North Korea, South Korea. So they're not. It's just funny that politics is complete bullshit because it's always about what's happening only to your area. It's not about global.
Yeah. When I was in Japan, I saw a bunch of social justice warriors hammering on how bad Japan is for elementary school children rights or something. Korean elementary school children rights, stuff like that.
Oh, they don't
Like,
have. We touched on this earlier, but Japan does not teach. What's the word I was using? Not equality. Oh shit, I forgot the word. Where you allow someone to be different. I'm freaking out on the word here.
Equality.
Not equality. Tolerance. That's it. They don't teach tolerance. So they don't teach if you're anything. I mean, the whole society of Japan is try to be the same as everybody else. Whereas
And
in
don't
America,
talk
everyone
about
tries to
stuff.
be unique. In Japan, they all want to be the same and not stand
Yeah, and
out.
don't talk about inconvenient things. Don't talk about the inconvenient things at all.
Yeah. I mean, for example, if you remember, the Japanese Supreme Court said if you want to be called a female, if you're transgender and you want to be called a female, you got to cut out all the parts that make you a man. And if you want to
Yes.
be considered a man, you got to cut out all the parts that make you a female before you can do that legally.
Yeah.
That's a legal ruling in Japan.
Yeah. Good.
I mean, I wish there should be a little bit more of a hurdle than I feel like a woman. Like there should be a little bit more of a hurdle, maybe. Maybe.
Did you know that
I've never been
over
in their
50
feet.
over 50% of people who have sex change operations want to change back, want to have reversal surgery?
Yeah, see, I was thinking, what if I felt like a woman, right? Would I ever want to turn my penis into a vagina? The answer is no, because I would not want to ruin the risk of not ever having feeling anymore.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, this
Such
is
an
a
important
few-
part of my life, you know?
Yes. What if it turns out horrible? I mean, you've got good boob jobs, but you also have bad boob jobs. And for that reason, I would never want a boob job if I was a woman. I
Yeah,
would be so scared that they would fuck up my boobs or that I just couldn't get used to the silicone stuff inside of my chest or the feeling or, whatever. So,
well, it's like LASIK surgery. Like I know what my eyes are now, but apparently there's a small chance that when you get LASIK, you'll see star
viewers
patterns
right
at night.
now,
Huh?
the viewers right now don't know what your eyes look like.
I had to stand up. My watch told me it was time to stand up. For the record, it's like,
see.
hey, it's
Good.
time to stand up. And if I do that, I get points. I close my exercise rings. So I'm just following what my watch said to do. But yeah, so
I have, by the way, I have an appointment with my orthodontist. Well, he will be my orthodontist if he doesn't mess up the first appointment to get braces.
what?
Yes.
Did I inspire you?
Yes, you did. You did.
Dude, it's
Yeah.
the greatest decision I've ever made. I mean, look at these teeth.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're straight.
My parents never wanted me to get them because they said, well, you will not be able to stand it. They're not used.
They do
they're
suck.
Not useful for you. Yeah.
They do suck, but you
I
do.
mean,
It's nowhere near as bad as I imagined it.
I really wanted them because my bottom teeth, they're not.
It's
they're
funny
not
because
straight
once you
yet.
get braces, you start looking at other people's teeth. And earlier when you were talking, I was like, man, his bottom teeth do need work. Your top teeth are fine. It's your bottoms.
Yeah,
You're going to
no,
hate
it's
it.
just-
You're
one
going
is
to hate it
crooked.
initially, but it's not bad. You'll get used to it.
I kind of want it.
I'll give you some advice though.
Yeah.
So initially they talk about using wax so a lot of times, sometimes when you get because at least here, I don't know how they would do it in Europe, every month and a half or so, they change the wire. And sometimes they tighten it differently, and sometimes they have to remove the bracket and reposition it. Well, inevitably that leads to every now and then you get stuff that cuts into your gum, not into your gum, but into your lip, and it's a bitch. Well, my daughter and I are both getting braces, so we talk about it. But I had been using the wax all the time, which is a pain in the ass. You put the wax in so it doesn't cut you, but then you end up swallowing the wax, which is not a problem. But my daughter's like, I don't even care. I just let it cut me until I got used to it. And I was like, holy shit, that's genius. And that's what I've been doing now. So I would give you that advice. Let it cut you so much that you build up a callus there and you don't worry about it.
Because
it's so much more
good
convenient.
advice.
Yeah, you just got to worry about it for like a few days. It hurts, but then you're like, whatever.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, I'm getting that, and I'm also getting on a different note, health, like a breathing test. They're going to test me for asthma and stuff like that because
wow.
I've had very bad lung pain.
Well, maybe you should stop vaping.
Chest pains. I don't. I've been vape free since before I went to Japan 2 weeks. So that's now 5. No, it's longer. It's maybe 2 months, 3 months. I know I'm totally not using anything anymore. I am straight edge, except for caffeine. That's the only thing
I'm sorry. Sir Bamrose in the chat. It's not a callus, George, actually. It's called a scar tissue. I apologize. I am sorry.
Yeah, it becomes callous if you rub it.
Could you imagine? I rubbed it too much and I got calluses there now. That's herpes.
I wonder if homos get callous. And women and homos.
I don't even know what you're trying to say. Dude, this is so wrong.
Like when you give blowjobs, you know?
Oh, in the mouth.
Yeah, like on the lips. I don't know, man. Okay.
We're going off the rails.
Fact.
Can we just change the show to two guys talking shit? It's just two guys talking shit with no information.
Yes. I mean, this is difficult to research. I doubt that there's been academic research on callus forming.
Honey, I was researching. I needed 100 blowjobs a day to check it out.
Yeah.
It's not cheating when it's research, honey.
Like, do women form callus on their genitals? It's a good question.
Oh my God. I don't think so
It's a good
because they're lubed
question.
up. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a
Yes.
good point.
Like, for example, if you use chalk at the gym on your hands, you're not going to get big calluses because you're giving it slippage. You get a callus when there's not slippage.
I
Yes.
see. Yeah, right. Okay. Well.
Now, Mark, I
wow.
want to point out, a woman has to be excited. She has to be excited
Yes.
before she lubes up. It's possible
course,
that you've
yeah.
never made a woman excited and you haven't seen how that works.
Oh, buddy, don't worry about that. You know, got everything under control here.
Sir Bemro says only weirdos like Mark masturbate without lube.
No.
No,
Many other
non-weirdos
weirdos
also.
do too. Yeah. And people with foreskins.
This is why we have no new YouTube followership here. Really, this is it.
This is also why the end tune is playing.
Yeah, I know you have to go to your ortho appointment, right?
Not right now. Just gonna go to the end of the MP3 here. See you next week.
Are we stopping the YouTube stream? Okay, for those of you that want to keep listening to the most disgusting stuff you've ever heard, switch over to markandgeorge. Is it show.com?
markandgeorgeshow.com.
markandgeorgeshow.com/live
Yeah.
because we're ending the YouTube stream right now. I don't even know when this thing ends. Hang on, give me a second.
Gonna go to the end of the MP3 here. See you next week.
Are we stopping the YouTube stream? Okay, for those of you that want to keep listening to the most disgusting
I'm going
stuff
to,
you've ever heard,
the MP3. I'm going
switch
to
over
fade
to
that
Mark
out.
and George. Yeah, is it
I'm going
show.com?
to fade you out.
Yeah.
markandgeorgeshow.com.
markandgeorgeshow.com/live.
Hello everyone.
Because we're
This
ending
is,
the YouTube stream
show number 38, post
right now.
episode 30.